Okay, so today you need to put in your table of contents that we're going to do a foldable on all operations with rational numbers. This will go on page 39. The date for Monday is 9/18 of 17. So we're going to do a foldable that pretty much summarizes all the operations that we've done with all rational numbers, which is integers, decimals, and fractions with add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Everything that we've done for the past basically week and a half. Okay, so to set up our foldable on your first clean sheet, mine is page 39, yours might be a little different, but the first full clean sheet that you have, which should be honestly right after dividing decimals, we want to fold that sheet in half vertically because it's in R, and we're going to make a foldable from this. So at the top, starting at the top, we want to make a line after the first two lines here, and then skip 3 lines, 1, 2, 3, and make another line. And then we're going to skip another 3 lines, 1, 2, 3, and then another 3 lines, 1, 2, 3. This point, so we have 2 lines here, 3, 3, and 3. We're going to need a little more room at the bottom, so I need you to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, skipping 5 lines and making a line in between the next 2 lines. So we're cutting that one in half. Let me adjust the camera so you can see that a little bit better. Okay, so we skipped 5 total lines, and then on the 6th empty space, we are cutting that one in half. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in between a line, and then at the bottom, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 complete spaces here because we need a little more room for what we're writing in the last 2 sections. All right, so real quick on the setup, we have 2 lines and then a line on the line. And then we have 3 lines skipped, a line, 3 lines skipped, a line, another 3 lines skipped, and a line, and basically 5.5 skipped with a line that goes in between, and your last section should be about 5.5 as well. All right. All right, so on the inside of the foldable, we want to go ahead and make our lines. You should be able to see them from the other side, especially if you're writing in marker. Like as you can see mine. So we're going to make our lines so that we're separating our sections real quick. Guys, we don't have to use a ruler for this. Just go ahead and make your lines the best way you can. This one down at the bottom. I don't know if you can see. I'm pretty far though. Just as best as possible. Okay. You don't need a line up and down because these sections are going to coincide with each other anyways. All right, so from the front to then the back of your foldable. All right, so let's start talking about adding. When we talked about adding integers, we learned our row your boat, which is same sign, add and keep, different signs, subtract. So we're going to go ahead and write that in this space here. All right, and we are same sign, add and keep, different signs, subtract. And when you subtract, you want to take the sign of the larger number to be exact. So same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. Take the sign of the larger number, then you'll be exact. Let's go ahead and look at 2 examples on this. And yes, we are going to write over this. Just know if you're writing in marker, you might want to switch to a pen or a pencil, which I am going to do right now. I'm going to do it in red pen so that what I'm writing here does not leak over into this other section. All right, so we have an example of 7 plus 4, which is something you've done pretty much since elementary school. They're both positive 7 and a positive 4, and that should equal a positive 11. So we have both positive numbers that have a positive ending or equal to the other side. All right, and then example with it negative, if we had a negative 7 plus a negative 4, okay, they are same signs, add and keep. So both same. So 7 plus 4 is 11, and we keep the sign negative. All right. The next example, when you have different signs, say I have negative 7 plus 4. These are your different signs. So I have a negative and a positive. So I'm going to subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. And then you take the sign of the larger number. I have more negatives than I have positives. So my answer is going to be negative. Okay. So you see how we have different outcomes. This is why we have to follow the rules. Same sign, we add and keep the sign. Different signs, we subtract the numbers and keep the sign of the larger number to be exact. Our subtracting rules, we did SCO, because that's our next section. So SCO, which is same, change, opposite. Okay, the same first number, we changed the operation and we did the opposite on the second number. And this is known as the additive inverse. So additive inverse. We are trying to make it back into an addition problem so that we can use our adding rules to solve for it. All right, so an example of that, we have negative 5 minus a negative 3. Okay, when we use SCO, S-C-O, we take the same number of the first problem, so a negative 5. We change the operation from subtraction to addition, and then we do the opposite of the second number. So this one's a negative 3, so the opposite is a positive 3. Okay, I want to reiterate that these symbols do not go to the numbers. This is a takeaway, and this is a put together. Okay, don't try to associate these with the numbers because then it'll get it confusing. All right, now that we have our additive inverse, we can use our adding rules like above to solve for a negative 5 plus 3. These are different signs, so we want to subtract our numbers. 5 minus 3 is 2, and then take the sign of the larger number, which is negative, and so we have an answer of negative 2. Moving on to our multiplying and dividing rules. I'm going to do those kind of coinciding with each other because we pretty much said you can use the same thing for both. So we learned a tic-tac-toe board or a peace sign. Okay, on the tic-tac-toe board, we want to make sure our positives win diagonally. Okay, in our peace sign, our positive is at the very bottom, and then our negatives go everywhere else, and then they make the top part of the peace sign. Okay, so a couple examples of that with multiplying. If we have -7 times 4, we have 7, in first rule of thumb, multiply your numbers like normal. Okay, 7 times 4 is 28. A negative times a positive equals a negative. Negative times a positive equals a negative. Okay, another example is if we have -3 times -8. Okay, first multiply like normal. 3 times 8 is 24. And a negative times a negative equals a positive. Negative times a negative equals a positive. All right, for division, we multiply and divide our numbers like normal. So if I have -24 divided by 3, okay, 24 divided by 3 is 8. A negative divided by a positive equals a negative divided by a positive equals a negative. Let's say we have -25 divided by -5. 25 divided by 5 is 5. A negative divided by a negative equals a positive 5.